Welcome back to the channel. Today, we now need to talk about the 10 best performing currencies in Africa in spring 2025. Yesterday, we were talking about the worst performing currencies. You want to pay attention to those, okay? But you also want to pay attention to the best ones so that you know where you can do business, where it's going to be good to invest in the long term, and at least make connections, have some form of stability in some of these countries. Now, let's start with the context again. I am someone who has traveled and lived in Africa for 5 years. It will be 5 years in August. I'm also an entrepreneur. I'm a wife. I'm a mom of lots of children. And so I pay attention to things from this contextual perspective. Moving to Africa, traveling Africa, doing business on the continent is not just about, what looks cute in Zanzibar, what looks nice in, Ghana, what looks nice, whatever, seeing whatever popular people you want to meet. But when you're making this move, when you're traveling to Africa, it would behoove you to understand the safest countries, the least corrupt countries, and then number 3, the economies of the countries that you're in so that you know what you're getting yourself into again. Too many times we don't actually talk about the stuff that matters. Like we're stuck on, Kenya versus, living in Malawi and Malawi versus Nigeria. And what if you want to go to Namibia? And those are very surface level conversations, okay? But as someone that's in finance marketing, as someone that pays attention to the economy, my husband and I, we just do this like daily. We pay attention to global politics, geopolitics, and economics daily, partially because we're entrepreneurs. And then also from my husband's standpoint, he does wealth management for our family and handles our stocks, our crypto, all of these things. And so he has to understand and pay attention to what's happening just from that perspective. And so without further ado, let's get into this video. Number 1, the absolute strongest currency in Africa in spring 2025 is the Tunisian dollar. $1 US is 3 Tunisian dinars and 9 cents, okay? 3 Tunisian dinars and 9 cents. Now, I want to talk about this because actually the first four strongest currencies on this list are in North Africa. Let's stop for a moment. Let's pause so that we can get some contextual and historical understanding. You should also know that the currencies that are stronger than the US dollar, Great British Pound, and Euro are actually in the Middle East. So North Africa and the Middle East are obviously in proximity to the Mediterranean. These nations right now, have some of the strongest currencies like on earth. Again, like countries like Kuwait have money that's stronger than the dollar, stronger than the Great British Pound, stronger than the Euro. So that's just from a geographical, let's think about this. This is why this makes sense. This is why these first 4 countries are in the top. They have that proximity right there to the Middle East, those markets, okay? Number 2 is Libya. Libya has gone through a lot. Rest in peace to Gaddafi. He wanted to create like a united Africa and have its own currency that would have exploded these currencies below sub-Saharan Africa as well. But Libya, $1 US is 4.83 Libyan dinars. So 4 Libyan dinars and 83 cents is $1 US. So that's number 2. Number 3, we have Morocco. Morocco looks like an interesting place that I'd love to visit, to be honest. I'd love to visit Morocco. Morocco is huge with technology. It's a super popular tourist destination. Their economy is thriving, but your dollar obviously is not going to go as far because they are like more of a level economy, almost more like competition, okay? So the Moroccan dirham is so 1 USD is 9.57 Moroccan dirhams, okay? Dirhams. I don't know if I'm butchering that. I'm sorry if you're Moroccan. Please forgive me. Now, number 5 is, actually that was 3. So we had our top 3 that were in North Africa. I apologize. Number 5 of it is in Southern Africa. Can anybody guess what number 5 is? Let's pause for a moment. Okay, did you guess? Botswana. Botswana's Pula. $1 US is 13.62 Botswanan Pulas, okay? Now this is probably due to the diamonds in this economy. Botswana is landlocked. It's in Southern Africa. It's right above South Africa on kind of like the western or central side. But Botswana has a banging, explosive diamond industry where they ship diamonds all over the world. Obviously, that makes their currency worth more than other countries. You should also know Botswana is visa-free for Americans still, and they are not super corrupt. We have friends that live in Botswana and have been there for over a year after leaving East Africa, and they're absolutely loving the stability and the low corruption that happens in Botswana. Botswana is one of those places similar to Mauritius nobody really hears about, nobody really talks about, and that can be an advantage for you because you want to be somewhere that's not super popular, but is super stable. Now, number 5, Seychelles. If you don't know where Seychelles, however you like to say it. If you don't know where Seychelles is actually north of where we are. Seychelles is kind of off the coast of like towards Ethiopia, Kenya, very much north. It's an island nation in Africa, similar to Mauritius where I am at, and they use the Seychelles Rupee. We use the Mauritian Rupee, but the Seychelles Rupee is stronger. $1 is 14.37 Seychelles rupees, okay? So I do know that Seychelles cost of living is a little bit higher, but they do have a great digital nomad workation program that you can look into. They do have some good residency programs over there. It's fairly simple to start a business, and so if you are good in life, like you have your businesses off the ground, you can potentially look into Seychelles. I hear fabulous things about it, to be quite honest, as well. Number 6, Eritrea. This one shocked me on the list. Let me know which one shocked you the most. But Eritrea shocked me because I listened to these documentaries about Eritrea, and they always make it seem like it's so poor and all these things are happening. And I do think it's poor for the locals, I believe, from what I'm understanding. But at the same time, their currency is worth more than virtually every currency in Africa at this rate. And so they're making the right moves. I do know from a geopolitical standpoint, Eritrea is like a prize to the nations, okay? Because Eritrea has proximity to the Red Sea. They have proximity to these different ports. So Eritrea is wanted from China, the United States, France, Germany. All the folks want to be near Eritrea. The United Arab Emirates, and like y'all, if there were ever embassies that were going to close down everywhere, they were not going to close them in Eritrea, okay? Because everybody wants to be in that location. Number 7 is a country that we almost moved to, Ghana, the Ghanaian Cedi. $1 is 15.49 Ghanaian Cedis. They're still in the top. I remember 2015 looking into researching how to move to Africa, which countries would be best. Ghana back then even had a strong currency against the dollar, and so they have maintained their spot on this list, which I think is phenomenal. Shout out to Ghana, love Ghana, absolutely. Number 8, Lesotho. Lesotho is an island nation that is basically inside of South Africa, but it's its own nation, okay? Lesotho, their currency is $1 is 18.15 Lesotho Lotis, okay? Lesotho Lotis. I don't know what their economy is based on, but I know that proximity to South Africa definitely helps them. You're gonna find some patterns on this list. The countries in the north that had proximity to the Middle East and some of those stronger currencies, as well as countries in the deep south of Africa that have proximity to South Africa, also have strong currencies. These are patterns that we need to identify, understand, and look at so that you can come out on top as you're traveling and living and having fun in Africa, okay? Number 9 is Namibia. No shock there. We were talking about these patterns. Namibia is also in Southern Africa, near Botswana, near South Africa. Namibia is a desert nation, but that does not stop them from having strong currency. Let's just be 100. Namibia, they have a digital nomad visa that spans for 6 months, but they also have an economy that's heavily based on tourism, and I believe they also are based on mining as well, okay? So that is Namibia. Of course, Namibia, like every African country, and basically every country that is not Europe, every country, every continent that is not Europe was colonized. Namibia was colonized by the Germans, okay? So that's just some historical background. $1 USD is 18.15 Namibian dollars, okay? $18.15 Namibian dollars. Lastly is South Africa, okay? Again, on this list, after we were done with North Africa, aside from Ghana being like the outlier in West Africa, we see that Southern Africa, for the most part, has economic stability, okay? This is why I chose to leave East Africa and go to South Africa, okay? Because I'm technically in Southeastern Africa living in Mauritius. Mauritius isn't too far down on this list, 1 USD is currently 45 to 46 Mauritian rupees, okay? But it's definitely not in the top 10 right now, okay? But South Africa, again, about the same as Namibia. 1 US dollar is 18.15 South African rands. Let me know your biggest takeaway from this video. What countries shocked you? I wasn't shocked by South Africa. Definitely shocked by Eritrea. Eritrea, I think this is so interesting. Eritrea was the only East African country to make it to this list, the Eritrean Nakfa, which is really, really interesting. But as you're seeing, like if we could like zoom out and imagine this as a map of the 10 strongest currencies and we would color in the countries that had the strongest currencies, we're clearly going to see North Africa and South Africa taking the trophies, okay? So West Africa and East Africa have a bit of economic instability. This is something to be aware of when you are trying to do business in these countries. Because again, it's not helpful for you to be able to start your business, throw out 50K, 100K, 200K, whatever, 300K, whatever you're throwing out, and realize that you can't make it back. This is extremely important. So hopefully you learn from this video. Hopefully this changed your mindset so you can look at things from a more like financial wellness perspective. Economic stability, these things are very important because when we have economic stability, typically we have peace and safety. Again, Ghana, they are known for being very, very peaceful and very, 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 very safe. Botswana, super peaceful, super safe, okay? Morocco, I believe, is the same way. Not so sure about Eritrea. Lesotho for sure. Namibia for sure. South Africa, not necessarily. They have a lot going on, but still, they have one of the strongest currencies because South Africa actually makes a lot of their own stuff, produces juice, produces fruits, produces vegetables, ships it out across Africa, and we buy it, okay? African people all over the continent, we buy stuff from South Africa. We buy stuff from Kenya. Kenya was not in the top 10 on this list, but Kenya, like Mauritius, is very close, very stable currency as well. So look into that. Check out Business Insider Africa, where we got this information from. Check out their blog. They have phenomenal information. This is what you need to be looking for when you're thinking about living your dream life in Africa. Until next time, I'll see you in the next video. Shalom, shalom.